She takes the first sip slowly, like she has nowhere to be. The blue glows up between her fingers, soft as memory. The bar is almost empty, and the candle burns alone. A quiet kind of evening that she's happy to call home. The rain stopped just before she came and left the stone outside, all wet and dark and shining in the red lantern's tide. She ordered something cold and blue without a reason why. Just wanted something beautiful to carry through the night. The bartender says nothing, and she's grateful for the space. The low ceiling holds the warmth inside this tiny place. A jazz note from the speaker finds a corner and dissolves, and everything she carried in has quietly resolved. She isn't waiting for someone, and no one knows she's here, just cool in her blue cocktail and the atmosphere. The first sip always tastes like the permission to be still. Blue cocktail silence is the closest thing to nil. Blue cocktail silence, just me, nothing I have to be. Candle low, bar quiet, glass cold. This is where the night unfolds. Let it sit, let it glow. Blue cocktail silence and slow. No words needed, nothing to say. Blue cocktail silence. Okay. She watches how the condensation travels down the glass. Each tiny drop a sentence she's deciding not to ask. The blue inside is deeper than the cocktail that she chose. It holds the kind of feeling that only midnight knows. Outside, the red lanterns paint the wet stone red and warm, and she is on the inside where it's quiet from the storm. The first drink of the evening is the one that sets the tone. Blue cocktail silence means she's perfectly alone. Started, and already she can feel the city stepping backward and the quiet becoming real. She takes another sip and lets the cold run through her chest. Blue cocktail silence puts the restless parts to rest. There's something about evening in a bar that no one knows, where the light is low enough for honesty to show. Cool wraps both hands around the glass and breathes the blue inside. Blue cocktail silence is the only place to hide. Blue cocktail silence. First sip, still here, still quiet. There's a candle on the table that she didn't light herself. It was already burning when she pulled out from the shelf. A thing she needed tonight, warmth was somewhere near the top. And the candle understood that without asking her to stop. The flame moves just a little when the bar door opens wide, then settles back to stillness like it never left its side. She watches how it breathes in all the air around the room, a tiny living presence in the comfortable gloom. Who has had a week that asked for more than she could give, the kind of tide that lives inside the way you try to live. But here beside the candle in the low and amber light, she doesn't have to be anything except here for the night. The wax is slowly pulling in a circle, soft and warm. Each melting minute something like the passing of a storm. She thinks the candle knows exactly what she needs right now, to sit and be a flame without explaining why or how. Candle on the table, still bright, smallest thing that saved the night. Amber warm, bar dark, flame low, candle on the table, hello. Let it burn, let it be, candle keeping company. No words needed, just the glow. Candle on the table, I know. She orders something warm this time and wraps her fingers tight around the glass and watches how the candle holds the light. It doesn't ask for anything and doesn't need her praise. It just keeps being beautiful in its small, quiet ways. The bar is filled a little now with voices soft and low, but none of them can touch the space the candle seems to know. She leans a little closer till the warmth is on her face. The candle on the table is the center of this place. The night is getting deeper and the candle's getting low, but something in the shrinking makes the light more beautiful to know. She thinks about the things that give their best right at the end. The candle on the table is becoming her best friend. Tomorrow she'll go back to all the things that need her time, but tonight the only thing that matters is this flame and rhyme. Who sits until the candle finds its final place to rest? The candle on the table always gave her what was best. Candle on the table, still burning, almost gone, still warm. The rain stopped just before the hour, but left its whole self here. And every stone and puddle in the cool October air. She stepped outside for just a moment, just to feel the wet, the kind of after rain that she would never quite forget. The lanterns on the alley cast their red on everything, each puddle holding fire like a small and quiet ring. She stood inside the doorway of the bar and just looked out at Pontocho after rain. That's what it's all about. Who has walked this alley in 100 different moods, in summer heat and winter cold, and all the in-betweens include. But after rain at midnight is the version she loves most, when all the daytime people leave and Pontocho's a ghost of something older, softer, like it hasn't quite decided if it belongs to history or present, still undivided. The whetstone doesn't answer and the lanterns don't explain. She just knows she belongs here every time it finishes the rain. After rain in Pontocho, still wet, most beautiful the city gets, red on stone, blue in her glass. After rain in Pontocho last, let it shine, let it reflect. After rain commands respect. After rain in Pontocho, she stays, whetstone lighting up her gaze. She goes back to her window seat and picks her cocktail up. The blue inside is glowing like a small impatient cup of everything she came here for, the quiet in the night, the after rain in Pontocho, getting everything just right. She watches from the inside as the alley slowly moves, a couple walking carefully between the lantern grooves, and she is warm and separate in the best possible way. After rain in Pontocho always has the final say. The stone will dry by morning and the puddles will be gone, but right now every surface holds the rain and carries on, reflecting all the lanterns in the windows and the signs, and watery imperfect versions of the most beautiful designs. Cool leans against the window and she lets the cold come through. The glass between her and Pontocho thin as something true. She breathes it in completely, all the after rain, the red after rain in Pontocho lives inside her chest instead. After rain in Pontocho, still wet, still glowing, still hers. The red lanterns outside don't know they're beautiful tonight. They just hang there doing what they've always done, give light. But in the puddles down below they come alive twice over. A second set of lanterns in the water slightly lower. She stares at the reflection longer than she stares at the source. The broken version somehow feels more honest in its course. Imperfect red in water is more beautiful than true. Red lantern reflection, that's the version she came to. Who has has a thing for doubles, for the copy and the real, for shadows on the wall and how the echo makes you feel. The lantern up above is certain, steady, burning bright, but down below in water it's uncertain, soft and right. She thinks about the versions of herself that others see, against the version swimming in the puddle more like me. The reflection doesn't try to hold its shape against the rain. Red lantern reflection, beautiful because it's strained. Red lantern reflection, twice the red, once above, once below instead. Broken light on wet stone floor. Red lantern reflection, more. Let it ripple, let it break. Beauty more than we can take. Red lantern reflection, true. Broken things reflect more blue. She presses her cheek gently on the cold side of the glass and watches how the lantern lights keep moving as cars pass. Each ripple in the puddle sends the red across the stone, a living kind of painting that exists for her alone. No one else is looking at the water at this hour, just cool inside the bar watching red lanterns flower into something temporary, something gone before it's named. Red lantern reflection, beautiful because it's stained. The puddle will be gone by dawn, the lanterns will remain, but what she loves is only here until it stops the rain. The temporary beauty of the red on broken stone is worth more than the permanent, the certain and the known. She picks a cocktail up and takes a slow, deliberate sip. The blue inside her glass and red outside begin to drip together in her vision till the colors almost blend. Red lantern reflection, beautiful right to the end. Red lantern reflection, still broken, still beautiful, still red. She always asked for the window seat wherever she goes, the one that puts the outside world just close enough to know, but far enough to watch it like a film she didn't write. The window seat is where she keeps herself on certain nights. Tonight the glass is cold against the side of her left hand, and everything outside is doing things she understands, but doesn't need to join in, doesn't need to be a part. The window seat melancholy lives inside her heart. Koo has had this feeling since she was very small, that she belongs beside the window more than in the hall, where everyone is talking and the noise fills every space. She needs the glass between her and the world to find her place. It isn't sadness exactly, it's a softer kind of thing, like watching autumn from inside and feeling everything, without the cold, without the wet, without the need to speak. Window seat melancholy is the feeling that she seeks. Window seat melancholy, mine, everything perfectly fine. Glass between me and the night. Window seat, melancholy right. Let me watch, let me stay. Window seat, melancholy day. Not sad exactly, just apart. Window seat, melancholy heart. The people on the street outside are living their own scenes, and she is here collecting all the quiet in-betweens. The couple sharing something, and the man who walks along, the delivery cyclist who is cycling toward home. She holds them all so gently in the window of her eye, and lets them go completely as they pass and say goodbye. The window seat gives everything and asks for nothing back. Window seat, melancholy keeps her perfectly on track. Her cocktail has grown warmer and the candles burning low, but she stays at the window seat because she loves it so. The melancholy isn't heavy, isn't pulling her below. It's just the feeling of existing at the edge of the globe, where inside meets the outside and the warm meets with the cold, where she can be completely young and simultaneously old. Caressed her cheek against her hand and looks out through the glass. Window seat, melancholy, beautiful and unsurpassed. Window seat, melancholy, still watching, still warm, still mine. The midnight glass is sweating in the warmth of candlelight. Each drop of condensation tracing downward through the night. She watches how the cold inside the glass meets all the heat of everything around it in this small imperfect seat. The blue inside is deeper now that midnight has arrived, a color that she's certain only this late has survived. She wraps both hands around it, not to warm it but to feel the difference between cold and warm, the only thing that's real. Cool has always loved the things that hold two worlds at once. The cold exterior, the warm interior, the stunts that simple objects pull when they exist between two states. The midnight glass does this better than the thing that waits in daylight. Room temperature without the icing glow. The midnight version of the glass is all she needs to know. She tilts it slowly, watching how the ice moves in the blue. The midnight glass is holding everything she's going through. Midnight glass, cold outside, inside, blue within and dark without. Midnight glass, no need to shout. Let it sweat, let it glow. Midnight glass and indigo, cold and warm at the same time. Midnight glass, yours and mine. The bartender refills it with the quiet, steady hand, and she says thank you softly, like he might understand that this specific glass at this specific hour of night is more than just a cocktail in the candlelight. The ice is almost melted and the blue is spread around. A softer shade of midnight now is covering the ground of everything inside the glass and everything she brought. The midnight glass is holding every single unsaid thought.
Feels the weight of cold and blue, the condensation leaving rings on wood the whole night through. Each ring a kind of record of the hours she has spent beside this window in this bar, with everything she meant to say to someone somewhere, but instead said to the glass. The midnight glass receives it all and lets it slowly pass. Cool sets it down so gently that it barely makes a sound. The midnight glass is where her quiet feelings can be found. Midnight glass, still cold, still blue, still holding. Still glowing, still soft, still right. The neon isn't loud here like it is in other towns. It whispers through the wetness and it settles gently down onto the stone beneath it in a soft and broken way, like light that lost its confidence somewhere along the way. She presses her face closer to the window in the bar and watches how the neon travels only just so far before it finds the wet stone and decides to stay right there. Soft neon on wet stone is the most honest kind of glare. Has been to cities where the neon screams all night, where every sign is fighting for the most aggressive light. But Kyoto keeps its neon like a whisper in a crowd, just bright enough to find you, never bright enough to be loud. The red lanterns outside are doing something similar now, reflecting in the puddles with the quiet kind of vow to light the way for anyone who needs a soft reminder that beauty doesn't have to be aggressive to be kinder. Soft neon on wet stone, just right, quiet version of the night. Red on water, low and slow. Soft neon on wet stone glow. Let it spread, let it find. Soft neon on wet stone kind. Not too bright, not too loud. Soft neon on wet stone proud. She traces the reflection with one finger on the glass. The soft neon moving with the traffic as it passes. Each car that drives through Pontocho disturbs the red below, then leaves the stone to settle back into its gentle glow. She thinks about the people who designed these streets this way, with lanterns just bright enough to make it through the day. And then tonight with dignity, with softness, with restraint. Soft neon on wet stone is Kyoto's quiet complaint. The bar is getting quieter now and she is getting still. The soft neon outside is doing everything it will for the remainder of the night until the dawn arrives and washes out the wetness where the neon color thrives. But right now, in this window, in this hour soft and red, the neon on the wet stone is the brightest thing instead of everything that's happening in all the world tonight. Who watches? Soft neon on wet stone. and feels exactly right. Soft neon on wet stone, still glowing, still soft, still right. It's 12:43 and Kyoto hasn't moved. The bar is barely breathing and the candles in the groove of burning just exactly like it's burned the last 3 hours. At 12:43, the night belongs to different kinds of powers. She checked the time just once, and then she put the phone away, because at 12:43, there's nothing urgent left to say. The city made its peace with midnight 40 minutes back, and now at 12:43, everything is right on track. Cool likes the numbers that don't end in 0 or in 5, the in-between of minutes that remind her she's alive. Not on the hour, not the half, not any rounded thing, but 12:43, the kind of time that only nights can bring. There's something about odd times that feels more honest and more true, like 2:17 or 3:52, or this particular blue. The clock chose 12:43 to show her where she was in Kyoto Chill. At 12:43 is everything, because Kyoto Chill at 12:43. Nobody here but the night in the odd time. Quiet bar, candle low. Kyoto Chill at 12:43. Glow, let it pass, let it be. 12:43 sets me free. Not the hour, not the half. Kyoto Chill at 12:43 last. The bartender is reading something quietly to himself, and she is at her window with her cocktail on the shelf of things she's holding gently through the minutes of the night. At 12:43 in Kyoto, everything feels right. The neon outside hasn't changed and won't for several hours. The wet stone keeps its patience through the late October showers. She orders nothing new and doesn't need to speak a word. At 12:43 in Kyoto, silence is preferred. She'll check the time again eventually, and it will say something past the 43, and on its quiet way to 1 and then to 2 and then to all the hours after. But right now she is living in the 12:43 chapter, the specific minute that she chose to just exist, without agenda, without plan, without a single list. Cool breeze, the Kyoto midnight in, and lets it fill. Kyoto Chill at 12:43, completely still. Kyoto Chill at 12:43, still taken, still quiet, still exactly right. The ceiling here is low enough to feel like shelter from the world, like someone built this room specifically for getting curled into yourself a little. into something small and warm. A low ceiling night bar is the best place in a storm. The wooden beams above her head are dark with years of smoke, and something in the closeness of the air is like a cloak that wraps around her shoulders in the amber candlelight. A low ceiling night bar is the right size for tonight. Has tried the bigger places with the high and airy rooms where everything is visible and nothing ever looms. But something in the openness makes feelings disappear, like they need a certain pressure to become completely clear. The low ceiling presses softly on the atmosphere inside, and everything she's carrying has nowhere left to hide. But that's okay, because the hiding was the problem all along. The low ceiling night bar makes the quiet feeling strong. Low ceiling night bar, just right, small enough to feel the night. Beams above and candles low. Low ceiling night bar, hello. Let it press, let it hold. Low ceiling night bar, bold, not too big, not too wide. Low ceiling night bar inside. The other people here tonight are keeping to themselves, like everyone who chose this bar knew what it does and delves into the private corners of whatever brought them here. A low ceiling night bar is a place for being clear with yourself about the things you've been avoiding in the light. The low ceiling gives permission to be honest in the night. She looks around at all the quiet faces in the room, all of them held gently by the low ceiling's gentle gloom. She doesn't wanna leave when all the other patrons do. She wants to stay inside this ceiling, inside this blue, this low and amber pocket where the world stays just outside. A low ceiling night bar is the best place she can hide, not hiding from the life, but hiding into something true. The way a low ceiling makes the light a different hue. Cool tilts her head back slowly till it almost meets the beam. A low ceiling night bar is exactly what it seems. Low ceiling night bar, still low, still warm, still holding. She tells the ice the things she hasn't told a single soul. The blue between the cubes receives it, keeps it, makes it whole. There's something about cold things that makes confession easier. The ice won't hold it against her, won't make anything clearer. She whispers to the glass so soft the bartender won't hear. The blue ice takes her secrets with the same face every year. Unshocked, unjudging, slowly melting into blue. Blue ice confession, that's the only thing she'll do. Who has things inside her that have nowhere else to land? Too heavy for a text message, too private to understand out loud in any context where a face might change its shape. The blue ice is the perfect place for everything to drape itself across the cold and slowly settle into water. The way a secret loses weight, the longer that you got her. Sitting in the patience of a glass at midnight deep. Blue eyes confession is the only thing that helps her sleep. Blue eyes confession, cold and true, telling everything to blue ice that melts and takes it down. Blue eyes confession, no sound, let it melt, let it go. Blue eyes confession, below what I couldn't say out loud. Blue eyes confession, my crowd. The ice is almost gone now, and the secrets with it too, diluted in the cocktail in a lighter shade of blue. She thinks about the things she said and how they felt to say, even to the ice, even in this quiet way. There's healing in the telling, even when no one can hear. The blue ice held her confessions through the midnight atmosphere, and now the glass is mostly water, mostly memory. Blue eyes confession set the hidden parts of her free. She signals for another, and the bartender complies. Fresh ice, fresh blue, fresh surface for whatever still resides inside the parts of her that haven't found their way to speech. The blue ice is always patient, always just within her reach. She starts again more quietly than she did the time before. The new ice ready to receive whatever she has more. Cool leans down close and breathes against the cold blue rim. Blue ice confession, always ready for her hymn. Blue ice confession, still melting, still listening, still blue. The Chochin outside moves a little in the autumn air, a slow and patient swaying like it knows that she is there. Red paper catching light from inside, warm and round and full. A Chochin mood is something that she finds impossible to pull away from once it settles in the corners of her chest. The red that bleeds through paper is the color she loves best. Not aggressive, not demanding, just a warm, persistent glow. A Chochin mood is all she needs to let the evening flow. Who has noticed how the Chochin changes with the weather? In dry air it burns cleaner, in the rain it pulls together with all the wet reflections into something more intense. A Chochin mood in rainfall is almost too immense to hold inside one evening, but she tries her best to keep the red and warm and swaying in the place before the sleep, where feelings live most honestly without the need to name. A Chochin mood in Kyoto is always much the same. Chochin mood, red and warm, swaying gently through the storm. Paper light on rainy street. Chochin mood, bittersweet, let it sway, let it glow. Chochin mood, soft and slow. Red outside, blue within. Chochin mood, let me in. She thinks about the people who first hung these lights this way. How many Chochin Chochin moods have passed through Pontocho today, through centuries of rainy nights and people sitting still inside small bars with cocktails and a window and a chill. The Chochin is the constant through the changing of the years. It swayed for all their evenings and absorbed all of their tears, and now it sways for Ku, who is just one more quiet soul needing the Chochin mood to feel completely whole. Chochin catches raindrops on its paper skin tonight. Each drop a tiny darkening against the inner light, but still the red keeps coming through the wet and through the wear. A Chochin mood survives the rain because it knows to bear the weight of water lightly, like it's always known to score. That beauty after rainfall is what Chochin are for. Who watches it keep swaying in the window of the bar. A Chochin mood in Kyoto is exactly where you are. Chochin mood, still swaying, still red, still She asked for a table for one, and the host didn't blink. Just led her to the window with the candle by the drink. No apology, no pity, no suggestion of a shame. A table for one in Kyoto is just part of the game. She settled in and ordered and unfolded like a page that's been kept close too long inside a book of a certain age. The table is exactly right for everything she brought. A table for one is all the space that she has ever sought. Cool has noticed how the world still flinches at the one, as if a single person eating, drinking came undone from something that was meant to always come in twos or more. But she has never felt as whole as when she's at this door of solitude and candlelight and no one else's need. A table for one is where she plants her quietest seed of everything she wants to grow without the noise around. A table for one is where the truest things are found. A table for one, just me, everything I need to be candlelit, glass full, chair mine. A table for one, just fine. Let me sit, let me stay. A table for one today. Not lonely, not alone. A table for one, my own. She watches how the couples lean toward each other close and wonders if they notice what a table for one knows. That silence shared with only you is the most honest kind. No editing, no audience, no managing of mine. She doesn't envy anyone their company tonight. Her table for one is holding everything just right. The candle doesn't need a partner and the glass doesn't ask. A table for one, the most uncomplicated task. Almost over and she signals for the bill. The bartender brings it gently and the bar has gone quite still. She tips enough to say that this was worth the whole night through. A table for one in Kyoto. Everything she knew, she gathers up her black cat pouch and pulls her sweater tight. A table for one was everything she needed. Of the night, Koo stands and takes one final look at where she sat alone. A table for one in Kyoto always feels like home. A table for one next time too, maybe always. Who knows? The rain stopped half an hour ago, but no one told the glass. Each droplet still descending in a slow and hurried pass. From somewhere near the top down to the wooden window frame. The rain is gone, but on the window everything's the same. She watches how each drop decides its own particular path. Some joining with another, some just doing the math. The falling straight and solitary all the way down. Rain still on the window, the most beautiful sound. Cool thinks about the feelings that don't leave when they should go. The ones that linger longer than the reason that they know. Like rain still on the window after clouds are moved along. The feeling stays and travels down and doesn't know it's wrong. To still be here, to still be moving, still be making tracks across the glass of something that officially relaxes into the past but hasn't quite arrived there yet tonight. Rain still on the window, the most honest kind of light. Rain still on the window, not done. Feeling staying after the sun. Drops that linger, slow descent. Rain still on the window, meant let it travel, let it go. Rain still on the window, slow. Rain is gone, but feeling stays. Rain still on the window always. She traces one drop's journey with a fingertip on glass. The cold comes through the window as a fingerprint will pass over all the other drops that chose a different way. Rain still on the window has 1,000 things to say about the nature of the things that don't know how to end, about the feelings that keep traveling around the bend of what you thought was over but apparently was not. Rain still on the window holds there everything she's got. The last drop hits the frame and joins the others at the sill. A tiny congregation of the rain that's running still. She watches till there's nothing left to watch upon the glass. Just her reflection looking back at everything that passed. The window's dry now, but she knows that in an hour or two another rain will come and leave its drops like residue of something felt and gone, and felt and gone, and felt again. Breathes against the glass and makes her own small trace of rain. Rain still on the window. Last drop falling, almost gone, fading now. together on the table, like two entirely different worlds that somehow remain stable. The flame is warm and amber, and it reaches toward the air. The ice is cold and silent, and it doesn't seem to care. She moves them just a little, so they're closer than before, to see if warmth and cold together open any door of something new between the two extremes. She's always known blue ice, warm flame, the most beautiful contrast she's been shown. Who has always lived between the cold side and the warm, between the quiet iceberg and the candle in the storm. She runs too cold in summer and too warm in winter nights, and somewhere in the middle is where everything ignites. The blue ice keeps her grounded when the feelings run too hot. The warm flame keeps her moving when the cold is all she's got. Together on this table they make sense in ways she can't. Blue ice, warm flame, the only balance that she wants. Blue ice, warm flame, both true, cold and warm inside of you. Neither one alone is right. Blue ice, warm flame tonight. Let them sit, let them be. Blue ice, warm flame. Just me, cold outside, warm within. Blue ice, warm flame. Begin. She watches how the candlelight falls amber on the blue, makes the cocktail something in between the two. A color that has no real name but lives inside the glass. A warm, cold blue amber that she wants to make it last. The ice is slowly giving up its cold into the drink, and warming toward the temperature of everything she thinks. That's how it always goes, the extremes finding middle ground. Blue ice, warm flame, the most beautiful sound. She lifts the glass and holds it so the flame shines through the blue. The amber and the cold light making something completely new. A backlit kind of cocktail that exists for half a second before she drinks it slowly, and the warmth inside has beckoned. The cold to finally settle in a place that feels like both. Blue ice and warm flame keeping their improbable oath to coexist together on this table through the night. Cool holds the glass up one more time and bathes it in the light. Blue ice, warm flame, still together, still holding, still both. The lights along the alley never ask her how she's doing. They don't check in or follow up or see what she's pursuing. They just stand there being light in whatever way they can. The alley lights don't ask, and that's the most important plan. She's had enough of questions from the well-intentioned crowd. The "are you okays and the you seem quiet said out loud. But here beside the window, where the alley lights just glow, nobody asked her anything, and that's the only way to go. Cool has spent so many nights explaining how she feels to people who need answers and to people who need seals of certainty on everything that moves inside her chest. But alley lights don't need that. Alley lights just suggest that you exist, and that is more than plenty for the night. They illuminate without demanding that you get it right. She watches them stand patient in the wet Kyoto air. Alley lights don't ask, because they simply don't need to care. Alley lights don't ask, just glow everything I need to know. No questions, no demands, just light. Alley lights don't ask tonight. Let them shine, let them be. Alley lights don't ask of me. Just exist, just illuminate. Alley lights don't ask, just wait. She thinks about the people who are like the alley lights, who show up without questions through the complicated nights, who sit beside you quietly and don't require a word, whose presence is the answer and whose silence is preferred. She's had a few of those, and they're the rarest kind of gift, the ones who light the alley without needing you to shift into an explanation of whatever brought you here. Alley lights don't ask, and neither do the people she holds dear. The alley lights will burn until the morning comes to take their purpose and replace it with the sun that stays awake. But for these midnight hours, they just do their quiet thing, without agenda, without need, without the questioning. She finishes a cocktail and she signals for the tab. The alley lights still glowing on the wet stone. Every slab cool gathers up her things and takes one look out at the street. Where will she go from here? And will the alley lights repeat? Alley lights don't ask, just glowing, just waiting. Where to next? Her melancholy never makes a scene or raises voice. It sits beside her quietly like it was always her choice to carry something heavy in the most composed of ways. Melancholy, neat and quiet all her midnight days. It doesn't spill or overflow or make demands on time. It just exists in perfect order, steady and sublime. She's learned to wear it like the sweater that she always brings. Melancholy, neat and quiet, one of her finest things. Who has watched the people who let sadness take the wheel, who cry in public places and demand the world to feel their weight along with everything they're carrying inside. She understands that impulse, but she'd rather let it ride in silence through the evening like a passenger who knows that everything arrives on time when nobody else shows their hand. Too early, too completely, too without reserve. Melancholy, neat and quiet, takes exactly what you deserve. Melancholy, neat and quiet mind. Everything in order, everything everything fine. Deep but not disruptive, sad but still melancholy, neat and quiet until let it sit, let it stay. Melancholy, neat and quiet today, composed and sorrowful at once. Melancholy, neat and quiet months. She thinks the most sophisticated sadness is the kind that doesn't ask for witnesses or leave its mess behind, that tends itself with care the way a garden tends its bloom. Melancholy, neat and quiet, filling up the room without demanding that the room acknowledges its presence, without requiring anyone to validate its essence, just being what it is with all the dignity it owns. Melancholy, neat and quiet, beautiful and alone. The evening's turning deeper and her melancholy too is deepening in the most composed and dignified view. It doesn't frighten her because she knows its character. Melancholy, neat and quiet, always stays particular to her specific texture and the individual night. It never borrows anyone else's sadness, never might become the messy kind that leaves a mark on everything. Who's melancholy, neat and quiet, where's no suffering. Melancholy, neat and quiet, dissolving now, leaving gently, almost gone. Kyoto after midnight is a different kind of place. The daytime version packs away and leaves a quieter face. The temples stop pretending they exist for anyone and settle back to what they were before the world begun. The streets remember something old they carry in the stone, and everyone still walking does their walking mostly alone. She feels it every time she stays past when the tourists leave. Kyoto after midnight has a different way to breathe. Who has lived here long enough to know the after midnight version, the one that doesn't perform for anyone without the coercion of tourism and history and being what is known. Kyoto after midnight is when Kyoto is its own. The lanterns burn for no one, and the alleys hold their secrets, and everything the daytime crowd was chasing and defeats becomes irrelevant because the real Kyoto stays only for the ones who gave up counting all the days. Kyoto after midnight, real, everything the daytime couldn't feel, ancient and completely free. Kyoto after midnight, me, let it breathe, let it be. Kyoto after midnight, free, no performance, no display. Kyoto after midnight, stay. She thinks about the centuries of midnights just like this, where someone sat beside a window catching what they'd miss if they had gone to sleep at 10 like sensible people do. Kyoto after midnight keeps its oldest things in view. The moss that grows between the stones has seen 1,000 nights like this one, with a woman and a cocktail and the lights of lanterns that have burned through every version of this town. Kyoto after midnight never lets its history down. The bar is nearly empty now, and she is nearly done with everything she came here for beneath the midnight sun. That isn't sun at all, but just the lanterns and the blue of her own cocktail glowing in the Kyoto residue of centuries and rainfall and the weight of staying up to witness what the city does when everyone gives up their claim on it and leaves it to the night and to itself. Who raises up her glass and toasts the city off the shelf. Kyoto after midnight, still ancient, still breathing, still here. The rain stopped hours ago, but the street still holds it close. In every crack and hollow, where the water loves the most, to gather and to linger past the storm's official end. The street remembers rain the way she remembers a friend who left but left their presence in the corners of the room, and how the light falls different in the comfortable gloom of knowing someone was here. Even when they're gone, the street remembers rain and quietly carries on. Who watches how the lantern light falls into every pool that gathered in the Pontocho stones, imperfect, beautiful. Each puddle holds a version of the night above it whole. The red and amber captured in a temporary bowl of memory that won't survive until the morning comes. But right now in this after rain, the whole street hums with everything it witnessed when the clouds were overhead. The street remembers rain long after rain has gone to bed. The street remembers rain still wet, everything the sky had said, puddles holding what was here. The street remembers rain clear, let it hold, let it keep. The street remembers rain and sleep long after clouds have moved along. The street remembers rain and song. She thinks about the things the streets absorb across the years, the footsteps and the laughter and the quietly shed tears of everyone who ever walked this stone at any hour. The street remembers all of it, through sunshine and through shower. And rain is just the most visible of memories it keeps, the kind that pools and hollows while the rest of Kyoto sleeps. She feels a kind of kinship with the wet stone down below. The street remembers rain the way that she remembers slow. The puddles are already shrinking as the night air dries, each minute taking something from the street before sunrise. She watches one pool narrow at the edges, losing ground. The street remembers rain, but memories are never found. Forever only borrowed for the hours that they last. The wet stone slowly drying into ordinary past. Who presses her palm flat against the cold glass of the bar? The street remembers rain, and so does she, wherever they are. The street remembers rain, slowly drying, almost gone, fading now. She always asks for the seat by the window, always that one, not the one in the corner, not the one near the run of the bar where the bartender moves and the glasses clink. She needs the seat by the window just to think. The glass between the inside warmth and outside Kyoto night is where her thoughts untangle and her feelings find their right arrangement in the order that they rarely find elsewhere. The seat by the window is the only seat with air. Who came here 3 months ago and found this seat by chance. The window seat was empty and she took it at a glance, without knowing what it meant or what it was about. Just that the window called her and she couldn't figure out why anywhere else in the bar felt like the wrong address. But this seat by the window was her very own. Yes, now every time she comes here and the seat is taken first, she waits until it empties even through the thirst. The seat by the window, mine, everything here perfectly aligned. Glass between me and the night. The seat by the window, right, let me stay, let me sit. The seat by the window fits, no other seat will ever do. The seat by the window, true. She thinks about the things that only work in certain places. How some conversations only happen in specific spaces. How some feelings only surface when the setting is just right. The seat by the window on a rainy Kyoto night is where her best thinking happens and her worst thinking clears. Where she's cried exactly twice and laughed until the tears ran down her face into the blue cocktail below. The seat by the window is the only place she'll go. The seat was waiting, like I knew that she would come. The candle already burning and the bar already numb with quiet that she needed after everything the week week had taken from her, slowly leaving her the seat to seek. She settled in and ordered in, the window held her close. The glass between her and the city, intimate as most things she's ever felt inside this small and perfect room. Who belongs here at this window in this quiet gloom? The seat by the window, still waiting. Next time too, always here. Everything about her looks completely soft and blue tonight. The sweater and the cocktail in the window and the light. But underneath the surface where the softness lives and breathes, there's something considerably heavier than what she sees. In her own reflection in the cold side of the glass, a weight that's been accumulating slowly through the past few weeks of being fine on the outside for the world. Soft blue, heavy heart, quietly unfurled. Koo has gotten good at wearing blue like it weighs nothing, and making heavy feelings look like barely anything. The skill of carrying the weight without the posture showing, of something bending inward while the outward keeps on going. She learned it gradually, the way you learn most useful things, by having no alternative to what the practice brings. So now the soft blue sits above the heavy heart below. Soft blue, heavy heart, only she will ever know. Soft blue, heavy heart, both real. Everything I show and feel, blue on top and weight beneath. Soft blue, heavy heart, I breathe. Let it be, let it rest. Soft blue, heavy heart, my best. Keeping both without a seam. Soft blue, heavy heart, my theme. She thinks about the ocean, which is blue and soft on top, but underneath the surface everything is heavier than thought. The pressure at the bottom of the deepest ocean floor is something that the surface blue has never known before. But both of them are ocean, both of them are real and true. The heavy and the soft blue are what make the whole thing blue. She is both the surface and the depth and everything between. Soft blue, a heavy heart, the most complete she's ever been. Cocktail's almost empty and the heart is almost full of everything she carried in through midnight's gentle pull. She doesn't need to put it down or fix it or resolve. Just sit with soft blue heavy heart and let the night dissolve around the edges of the weight until the weight feels right. Not gone, but integrated into the specific night. Cool wraps both hands around the glass and feels the cold within. Soft blue, heavy heart, exactly where she's always been. Soft blue, heavy heart, still carrying, still blue, still whole. There's always glass between her and the city that she loves. A window or a raindrop, or the distance that she shoves between herself and everything. She wants to be inside. The glass between her and Kyoto is the perfect place to hide. Not far enough to lose it, and not close enough to drown. And everything the city is when midnight comes to town. She presses one palm flat against the cold and feels it through. The glass between her and Kyoto, thin as something true. Ku has wondered if the glass is something she creates, or if it was already there before she found these states of being almost in and almost out at the same time. The glass between her and Kyoto is a particular kind of rhyme that only makes sense when you're living in the in-between of belonging somewhere fully and just watching the scene. She's tried to step completely in and tried to step completely out, but glass between her and Kyoto is what she's all about. Glass between me and Kyoto, thin, everything outside, everything in, almost touching, never quite. Glass between me and Kyoto night. Let it stay, let it be. Glass between Kyoto and me. Separation is the view. Glass between me and Kyoto, true. She thinks about the people on the other side of glass who live inside the city while she watches it all pass from just behind the window of the small and candlelit room. The glass between her and Kyoto is a kind of comfortable gloom. Not sadness, but a chosen distance from the noise outside. A deliberate transparency that lets the light inside while keeping all the chaos at the thickness of a pane. Glass between her and Kyoto, beautiful and sane. The side are burning just as bright as anything she's ever seen on any other night, but filtered through the glass they have a quality that's new, a softness that the naked eye will never quite get to. She thinks that maybe glass improves the things it stands between. That distance is a kind of lens that sharpens what you've seen. Cool breeze against the window till a circle forms in steam, then watches Kyoto to the fog of her own midnight dream. Glass between me and Kyoto, breathing on the window, circle fading. Where does glass end? Notices the candle when the bar is full of people. It burns between the glasses like a tiny quiet steeple, doing everything it does without a single witness, just giving light and warmth with the most ordinary fitness. She noticed it tonight because she came here just for that, to find the things that nobody is paying attention. That the candle on her table has been burning since she came, and no one in the bar has looked at it or called its name. Who thinks about the things inside herself that burn unnoticed, the parts that give their warmth out quietly and stay the most dedicated to being present for the people in the room around, while nobody looks directly at the light that they have found. She has a candle quality that she has always known, a warmth that fills the space around without being shown to anyone directly, just existing in the air. No one notices the candle, but the candle's always there. No one notices the candle, still bright, burning through the whole of the night. Unseen warmth, unasked for light. No one notices the candle, right? Let it burn, let it give. No one notices the candle life, quiet fire, steady glow. No one notices the candle below. She thinks about the candles in the temples on the hills that burn for no one, visible through all the autumn chills, lit by someone hours ago and left to find their end, without an audience, without a witness or a friend, just burning because that is what a candle always does, regardless of who notices or validates, because the light is real whether or not a single person sees. No one notices the candle, but the candle still agrees. The bar is empty now, and she is one of few still sitting in the candlelight with nothing left to do but watch the flame perform its final hour of the night, getting smaller, burning lower, giving its last light. She feels a kinship with it in the closing of the bar, two unnoticed burning things that know exactly what they are. Who cups her hands around the flame to shield it from the door. No one notices the candle, but she always will do more. Notices the candle still burning, getting smaller, almost out. There's an hour she reserves for only herself each night, after all the obligations and before the light comes back to ask her for the things the daytime always needs. Cool's quiet hour is where she plants her quietest seeds of everything she is when no one's watching or expecting. A version of herself that needs no managing or correcting. Just cool inside the bar beside the window and the blue. Cool's quiet hour, the most honest thing she'll do. She used to feel she needed to account for this time spent to justify the stillness and explain where the hours went. But somewhere in the growing up, she gave herself the right to claim an hour every day that disappears at night, into the place where nothing is required of her at all, where she can hear the quietest parts of herself call, without competing with the noise of being someone, something. Cool's quiet hour is the only time she's nothing. Cool's quiet hour, all mine, no one else inside this line. quiet hour, no disaster. Let it breathe, let it stay. Cool's quiet hour every day. Most myself when least observed. Cool's quiet hour, well deserved. She thinks about the versions of herself through all the years. The ones who couldn't find a sour through the noise and fears. The younger cool who filled the silence up with anything to avoid the uncomfortable weight of just existing. But now the quiet is the thing she seeks above all else. The hour that she keeps for only cool among the shelves of everything she is to everyone who knows her name. Cool's quiet hour is the only thing that stays the same. The bar is almost closing and her hour's almost through. The bartender is wiping down the last of the residue of everyone who came tonight and took their piece of here and left the bar to settle back into its atmosphere. She finishes the last sip of the cocktail, cold and blue, and sits another minute in the quiet she came to. Cool breeze, the last of her quiet hour, into the room and gathers up her black cat pouch and steps into the gloom. Cool's quiet hour, still mine, always mine, every night. The street outside is red tonight from every lantern hung along the alley walls since long before her life begun. A red that's been a part of Kyoto longer than the stone. A red that knows its purpose and has never been alone. But in her hand the drink is blue, a cold and private blue that only she can see from where she sits inside her view. Red on the outside, blue on the inside, that's the divide. Red street, blue drink, the way she lives on either side. Thinks about the colors that define her inside out. The red of Kyoto in her bones without a doubt. The city's warmth and history that runs beneath her skin, but also all the quiet blue she carries deep within. The part that watches rather than participates full tilt. The part that holds the feelings with the care of something built to last through every season and through every kind of night. Red street, blue drink, the two things that feel right. Red street, blue drink, both mine. Outside, red inside, blue line. Kyoto in my blood, so red. Blue drink holding what's sunset. Let them eat, let them blend. Red street, blue drink, no end. Red outside, blue within. Red street, blue drink, begin. She holds the blue drink up until the red outside shines through. And for a moment everything is neither red nor blue, but something in between the two that doesn't have a name. A color only midnight bars in Kyoto can contain. The lanterns in the cocktail finding common frequency. A red-blue kind of moment that exists for only she can see from where she's sitting at this window in this light. Red street, blue drink, the signature of night. till the morning takes it down. And blue inside her glass will melt to water by the ground of ordinary morning, when the colors lose their charge. But right now red and blue are both completely living large. Inside this window, inside this owl, inside this bar, the red street and the blue drink showing exactly what they are. Who tilts the glass one final time and watches red and blue dissolve together in the glass into the most honest hue. Red street, blue drink, colors fading, red into blue, disappearing now. When the bar goes quiet, it happens all at once. The last voice folds into the air, and no one does the stunts of filling up the silence that the voices left behind. The bar just lets the quiet settle, generous and kind. The bartender moves slower now, each gesture more deliberate. The glasses find their places, and the night becomes more intimate than anything it's been since she arrived here hours ago. When the bar goes quiet, everything she knows. Cool is always last to leave, or close to it at least. She waits for the specific quiet after the noise has ceased. The moment when the bar belongs to no one and to all. The chair's still warm from people, and the light's still on the wall. But no one left and needed, just the space and her and blue. The last of her cocktail sitting in its ring of residue. She doesn't rush this moment, and she doesn't try to keep it longer than it lasts, because it isn't hers to keep. When the bar goes quiet, I stay just a little longer than I say. Last night, last glass, last night. When the bar goes quiet, right, let it settle, let it land. When the bar goes quiet, this is where the night completes. When the bar goes quiet, retreats. She thinks about the bars that have gone quiet through the years, in every city where she sat and gave them her best hours. Each one a different quiet, with a different kind of weight. Some bars go quiet gently, and some bars go quiet late. But Kyoto bars go quiet like the temples go to sleep, with a dignity and patience that is theirs alone to keep. When the bar goes quiet, here it feels like something old returning to itself, a story already told. Bartender says softly that they're closing for the night. She nods and finishes the last cold blue and gets it right. Believing the exact pressure of the goodbye in the door. The way she pulls her sweater tight against what lies in store. Outside in the Kyoto after midnight quiet street, where all the red lanterns are still burning in the heat of their own patient purpose, lighting no one in particular. Who steps outside and lets the bar go quiet behind her. When the bar goes quiet, door closing, still out here. Until next time.